This practice is going to be a practice that starts standing and will incorporate most of the poses proven to build bone strength. Not all of them, but most of them. And the goal of this practice is to keep your head above your heart. So I'm going to use a chair today as my prop, but you could also use yoga blocks. We're going to start like we always do, but standing today, focusing on our breath. So check in with your feet and make sure they're 2 fist widths apart. And then have the outer edges of your feet parallel to one another, so you might feel a little bit pigeon-toed. And lift your shoulders up to your ears, roll them back, drop them down, and turn your palms facing forward. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Start to feel rooted in the big toe mound and the heel. Engage your inner thighs. Pull your low belly in and keep the upper body nice and soft. Simply inhale and exhale. So to get where you want to go, you have to get started. Decide where it is that you want to go with your practice today. Decide what you want to build, make stronger. And then let that thought go and come right back to your breath. And then float your eyes open, and we're going to start with a standing spinal warm-up today. So I've still got my feet 2 fist widths apart. You can just face the camera, right? And we're going to inhale, lift the tailbone and the crown of the head. And exhale, hollow out, mostly in the lower back. You can let your head and your shoulders round if you feel it's okay. Inhaling, gently arch. And exhaling, just work the low back mostly. One more time, inhaling, lift the tailbone, the crown of the head, draw your shoulder blades back and down, and exhale, hollow out. And on an inhale, sweep your arms up over your head and interlace your fingers. And then turn your palms facing toward the ceiling, and if you're able to draw them, keep them straight and draw them up and back by your ears. Take a breath here. And exhale your hands to your heart. And we're just going to gently twist, swinging from side to side. Keeping your lower body rooted and just twisting from the waist. Keeping the shoulders level, just like a corkscrew. 2 more times each side. Good, and then come on back to stillness. Once again, take your arms overhead. This time you're going to interlace your fingers and release your index fingers and get really, really tall. And exhale to one side. So this is where we want to start to feel like we're squished between 2 pieces of glass. So the whole body is on the same plane. That's what's going to work our joints, muscles pulling on the bones to build bone strength. We'll go to the other side. Keep paying attention to your breath. And inhaling, come on back up. And exhaling, wiggle your toes and sit down into your heels. So we're going to just do one more twist and kind of fire up the quads. Pull your low belly in and twist to one side. So maybe your forearm goes to the thigh, one hand on the hip. Maybe your elbow goes all the way to the outside. Two more breaths here. Check in with your knees and make sure that they're in line with one another. One not pulling forward. Exhaling, release. We're going to go right to the other side. So pull the opposite hip and knee back. Two more breaths. Release your twist. Reach the crown of the head out long. Inhaling, take your fingers up toward the ceiling. And exhale, bring your hands back to your heart. And we'll go to our first pose. So take your heels really far out, so maybe they're right under your wrists. We're setting up for warrior two. I'm not going to use any props. You could also always go against the wall or take your mat to the short edge to the wall and use the wall for stability. So heel to arch alignment. You want to feel like your feet are pushing away from one another. Again, just muscles pulling on the bones. Upper body soft. Take 3 more breaths. Then inhaling, take a break, and just straighten your front leg. And then we're going to go right to extending side angle on this arm. So exhaling, take the forearm to the thigh. Again, you want to feel like your body's all along one plane. Squish between those 2 pieces of glass. And then take the upper arm up by your ear. You could gaze down at your knee, straight forward, open up a little more. Take 3 more breaths. Nice, and inhaling, come on back up. Right away we're going to go to the other side. So turn your left toes out, heel to arch, and then exhaling. Knee right over the toes, find that single plane. Maybe settle a little deeper, get those muscles to pull on the bones of the pelvis. 3 more breaths. Beautiful. Good job. Inhaling, go ahead and straighten that knee. Just take a breath. And then exhaling, we'll go right to extended side angle on this side. So check in. Try and get all of your bones lined up on the same plane. And then deepen. Decide where you want to rest your gaze. 3 more breaths. And inhaling, come on back up. Turn your toes in. Right. Soften your knees. And then heel toe your way back. So our next pose is going to be tree pose. Lots of variations. You could lean against the wall for support. You could put 1 foot on a chair. The goal is to just get all your body weight on one leg. So starting from Tadasana again, find one place to rest your gaze, something that's not moving, so don't look at me. And then bring that foot either to the calf or maybe above the knee, just no weight on the knee. Remember, it's a practice. Maybe you grow your tree. All the bones on the same plane, so you're lifting your standing thigh up and back. Squeezing toward the midline. 1 more breath. And exhaling, gently release. Go ahead and walk that out. And we'll go to the other side. Start in Tadasana. Get nice and long. Root your foot. Decide where you want to put your knee, your other foot. Maybe up in the thigh, just no weight in the knee. Every day is different. Find that single plane. Get light and long. Come back to that intention that you set. Oh, I'm a little wobbly today. One more deep breath. Nice, and exhaling, gently release, and again, go ahead and walk it out. Okay, so our next pose is going to be revolve triangle, right? So I'm going to take one foot close to the chair, step my other foot back, and slightly toward the edge of my mat, so I have a little bit of space between my heels. It's not heel to arch alignment, right? My hips are headlights pointing towards the chair. And on exhale, I'm going to fold flat back. So the goal is to keep the front legs straight and the hips level. You can even keep your palm on the back of your hips for a moment. And then squeezing the inner thighs, using the inner thighs, pull your belly in and twist from the waist. So maybe you go a little bit deeper and then take that opposite arm up. Check in with your body. Crown of the head reaching out long, back of the neck long, spine super flat, twisting from the waist. Even more, pull that left hip back, right hip forward. One more breath. And exhaling, look down at your prop, soften the front knee, bring the back foot to meet it, and come on to standing. So I'm going to stay on this side and have my back to you, just so that you can see it from the other side. So I'm going to step my other foot back and slightly to the edge of my mat so that I have a little space. Check in with my hips, get them nice and aligned. Start to activate the legs, so the benefits come from really working the muscles on the bones. I'm going to start to drop, flat back. And then from the waist, I'm going to rotate toward my front leg. And then take the other arm up. Again, I want to try and keep the spine level, hips level, and breathe. One more deep inhale. And exhaling, softening the front knee. Bring the back foot to meet it. Inhaling, come right back to Tadasana. So the standing pose that we're not going to do today is triangle pose. So if you want to do that after the video or stop the video and do it now, you can do that. So we're going to come safely to seated. Take one leg behind you in like a high lunge. Fold yourself down. You could use the chair if it's helpful. Drop the knee, front knee right over the ankle. Hands come to the mat. And come on to seated. So we'll do one of the two seated twists. So remember that if it bothers your bottom knee to have it bent, you can have it stretched out straight. I'm going to bend mine in. I've got my right knee folded in and my knee pointing straight forward. I'm going to cross my left foot over it. So let's tune into the inner thigh here. You're really going to use the inner thigh, top inner thigh, as if you were trying to stand up onto that front foot. Both hips are on the ground. Pull your low belly in. And then get really, really tall and twist toward that front leg. So use the muscles of the back more than you're using the arms for leverage. Inhale, get taller, and exhale, deepen. Do that 3 more times with your breath. Inhale, get tall, exhale, deepen. And 2 more. Good, and inhaling. I always like to use boat pose, a little core warmer to transition, so I'll just turn diagonally so you can see me. I'm going to shift onto my hips and lift my shins parallel to the ground. Maybe you keep your arms on the ground. Maybe you reach. Shouldn't be any pain in the low back. Just take a couple breaths. Stay light and long in the spine. And exhaling, we'll go to the other side. So now I'm going to have my left knee forward. All right, I'm going to cross my right foot over. Engage that inner thigh like I'm trying to stand up, but both hips stay on the ground. Get really, really tall. And exhale, use the muscles of your spine to rotate. And settle in. And use your breath. One more deep breath. Relax the jaw. And exhaling, gently release. Okay. And then we're going to roll onto our back. Actually, yes, we're going to roll onto our back and we're going to do the leg stretch series. So I don't have a tie with me. So everybody's going to stop the video for a second. Go grab your tie. Or your yoga strap. Probably if you're used to practicing for bone strength, you already had it with you. So here we go. We're safely on our back. I'm going to do my right leg first. I'm going to draw my right knee in. And wrap the strap around the ball of my foot. So not the arch, but really the ball where you can get some traction. And then I'm going to extend my left leg down. So this is more about pulling into the foot and pushing away than it is about taking your leg higher over. So you want to keep that left thigh pushing toward the ground. Back of the neck long. You could always pad your head with a blanket. So pushing into the tie and pulling the head of the femur into the hip. Take 3 more breaths. Reach that heel out. And then rest your left hand on your thigh. Glue that side of the body to the mat as you inhale. Open up the leg. So only go as far as you can, keeping the integrity of the other side of the body. You could take the arm out to the side, but it's a little bit easier. You decide. Keep pushing out. Soften the jaw. I can tell that I have gone too far because my left leg is going out to the side now to try and compensate. Good. Inhaling, come on back up. And exhaling, gently release. You could always, again, if you really need to keep your head above your heart, put a couple of blankets under your upper back. We'll go right to the other side. So stretch that right leg out, pushing the thigh toward the mat. Get that ball of the foot going, pushing into the strap. And then gently pulling on the strap. Arms get long, right? Straight arms. Tractioning that femur bone right into the hip joint. Perhaps closing your eyes and coming back to that intention that you set. Good. And then rest the right hand on the thigh, and on an inhale, take the leg out to the side. And try and keep that integrity in the right side of the body. Feel my right leg slipping out there. Try and bring it back. One more deep breath. And inhaling. Come on back up. Release the tie. And just go ahead and plant your feet. Rest your arms. Take a couple of breaths. So we're not going to do bridge pose because that would be essentially lifting our heart above our head, right? So we want to, then that would just put the pressure toward your head, right? So we're just going to safely roll ourselves over onto our belly. Make that pillow for your head with your hands. Rock your hips from side to side. So doing a couple of variations of cobra pose and locust pose to finish. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Squeeze your elbows and keep pushing your feet into the mat and mostly using your back muscles. Gaze at the front of your mat and inhale, lifting up. And exhale, forehead to the mat. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling, lifting up. And exhaling, forehead back to the mat. And then again, inhaling, lifting up. And exhaling, release. And then we're going to go into Salambhasana. So if it's safe for you to lift your heels as well, you're going to reach your fingertips towards your heels. And then on an inhale, lifting both. Just gazing at the front edge of your mat. Or you could even close your eyes here and just imagine the spine getting longer. Come back to the breath. This is so good for our posture. 3 more breaths. One more to lift, lift, lift. And then exhaling, softening, gently release. So you could stack your fists and rest your forehead on your fists. Or if it's safe for you to make a pillow for your head with your hands, this is still kind of a gentle back bend. Just go ahead and rock your hips from side to side. This is also known as forward lying Shavasana. Let your collarbones spread wide. Let the legs relax. If you prefer to take a Shavasana on your back, safely transition to your back. If there's any pose you'd like to finish your practice with, feel free to pause to finish your practice, but be sure to come back to Shavasana. Nothing to do until you hear my voice again. Take 3 more deep breaths. When you finish your 3rd exhale, invite you to gently bring your elbows under your shoulders. Pull your low belly in on inhale, lift your hips up and back, and start to walk your knees in. Maybe it feel good to rock your hips from side to side a little bit. And come to seated. So an easy seated position, whatever's right for you. Make some circles with your wrists to get moving again. And then shake them out. And on inhale, take your arms up over your head. Feel the spine really, really long. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart center, closing your eyes. Inhaling deeply, bow your head to your own heart. With a mental pat on the back for showing up. Show up. Be consistent and stay strong. The spirit in me honors the spirit in you. Namaste. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to this channel, and you can go to almosthomeyoga.com for more information. Be well.